Meet Serena, your virtual companion for emotional support. The ultimate safe space to discuss your thoughts, your fears, and the ups and downs of daily life. Start your free trial today at serena.chat.
My 20F fiancé 23M cheated on me at 8 months pregnant. My 20F fiancé 23M cheating on me while I'm 8 months pregnant. To preface, I, 20F, have been engaged to my fiancé, 23M, for about a year. Before this our relationship was fantastic. We would watch horror movies, and he'd always hold me tighter and cover my eyes when a part was coming up he knew I would get scared at. We weren't perfect, but it was the best I'd felt in a relationship for quite some time. This man would literally make me breakfast in bed almost every morning whether he worked that morning or not. It's just how we were. So when I found out I was pregnant on my birthday I was overjoyed to share the news with my fiancé as he's been making it very known he wanted kids with me. Specifically a son. He would only say that he wanted a son. So you can imagine his utter disappointment when we found out our little miracle baby was in fact a baby girl and not his perfect little boy he'd been dreaming of. To say things went downhill from there would be an understatement. It started with hiding his phone and always taking it with him whether it had battery or it was dead. Then it escalated to him always typing on his phone or taking his glasses off and posing at his screen, to which he would tell me he was just playing with Snapchat filters. God, I was so stupid. Around when I was 6 months pregnant his iPhone 11 was broken beyond repair and he was given a backup phone to use from his brother-in-law until he could get his iPhone fixed or replaced. The backup phone was an Android, by the way. That part is very important for later. If you know iPhones then you know that he pretty much lost his email, Facebook and pretty much all of his socials. It didn't help that he had two-factor authentication on all of his socials and his email. So he pretty much had to start fresh on the temporary phone. Him and I have a rule that we follow each other on all of our socials, even our backups and burner accounts. That rule was mostly for me because I have 2 personal TikTok accounts and 1 professional TikTok account. He admitted to making a new Instagram, email and TikTok which he openly gave me the username for so I could follow them. He made it very clear he had no interest in making a Snap as he saw no use for it at this point in time. So you could imagine my surprise when I started seeing Snap notifications about a month ago. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't have been mad except that he kept insisting that he didn't have a Snapchat on that phone and it was probably his brother-in-law Snap. I didn't believe him but chalked it up to pregnancy hormones up until I woke up at 4 a.m. to his phone blowing up from Snapchat notifications. I grabbed it and went to the basement to got through the notifications because I just had a gut feeling he wasn't being honest. I didn't even make it 5 minutes before I not only found out about his secret Snap account but he had been texting several girls looking for a good fuck, as he put it. Mind you, our sex life was better than it was even before I got pregnant, so this came as an absolute shock. There was one conversation that stood out to me, so I read the whole chat history and immediately started seeing red. Not only has he been talking to her for the entire time he's had the borrowed phone, they started talking the literal night he got it. But they got into a romantic relationship not long after and have Eve said I love you to each other. I am now heartbroken and go back to our room to confront him and he straight up denies it even though I had taken screenshots and sent them to my phone and my 2 best friends. Fast forward to the present and the girl found me on social media and told me everything. She even apologized profusely for her part in this as he had said he was single on the dating app they met on. I confronted him again and now he's telling his whole family I'm cheating on him and abusing him because in one his anger outbursts he had put his hands on me and I dealt more damage than he did while defending myself. Several years in level 3 group homes and I was a fighter in school. He had a scratch from where his wired glasses had cut him in the scuffle and the only mark he had from me was a black and purple bite mark on his side from when he tried to dig his knee into my large baby bump. The cause of the argument? His side piece, Raven, had called him out and called him a poss. We still have our good times but it feels forced. Almost like he's trying to be nice to me because someone asked him to. I'm 5 weeks away from meeting my child and I don't know if I want a relationship with a man who was trying to start over with another girl while I'm literally pregnant with his child. Could I be reading too far into it? Should I have left before he put his hands on me? Do I just play an 18-year-long game of hide and seek with my daughter? Edit. To clarify, I'm no saint. I've said my fair share of messed up things as many people do when they are angry. I've started my fair share of screaming matches though I've never been the one to initiate a fight to go past verbal fighting. Get a lawyer. Take custody of your child. Please don't stay. 20 years old and you compare this relationship to older ones? You're barely old enough to consider this one an adult relationship. At least you're not married yet. Screw this relationship. Sorry for your daughter. This entire relationship is dumb. Get some respect for yourself. You should have left the moment you found the snap logs, and now he is an active danger to you and your child. This man does not love you. My hubby, 34 male, admitted he wishes I, 31 female, was more homely. TLDR. Essentially what the title says. I'm an independent woman and it seems my husband is bothered by it. This is the backstory, and sorry it's long. My husband and I have been married for over 10 years with between us 3 children, 16, 8 and 5. We had an argument recently, because of a 2-day team building coming up with my work. He didn't like it and asked me to drop out of the event to spend time with the family, which I disagreed. Personally, I didn't think it should be a big deal, because these kinds of events happen once a year, if at all. The argument derailed a little bit to him accusing me of never wanting to spend time with the family, being married to my work and just doing whatever I want and basically not considering them at all. I do work full-time and travel for work sometimes. I also have some hobbies, so I understand that's not great, but it doesn't mean I should not have a social life, especially considering he has his own hobbies as well and works most weekends and evenings, because of higher pay. We currently stay with family and have easy access to babysitting, and I had already arranged for them to be taken care of while I was out, so it's not that either. So, at some point, after he relayed that fine, if I wasn't gonna spend the weekend home he was gonna spend it at a girlfriend's place. I also got angry and told him that yes, I damn well do whatever I want and that since we didn't have prior plans together and the children are taken care of, happy and loved, why would he mind? And that if he didn't like them spending too much time with a babysitter, he could just as well decide to spend more time at home and take care of them. And if he himself wanted to spend more time with me or go out with me, I'd be happy to do that on any of the about 45 weekends a year that I normally spend at home and or with the kids. That it seems he just doesn't like it when I spend time for myself, and does he want a housewife who is just waiting for him to come home all night? And that's when he admitted what was really bothering him. He said, culturally, it is emasculating for a man to sit at home with the children while the wife is out enjoying herself. That it is somewhat okay if it is for work but completely unacceptable for a social event. That I should be extremely grateful for how chill he is and that he lets me have hobbies and friends and puts up with that damn work of mine, which pays all our bills by the way. And that yes, I have rights and he cannot stop me, but if I would love him and my family I would act like a responsible wife, not like a teenager. That yes, we are equal partners, but he hates all those hobbies and friends of mine and that I need some responsible people in my life to advise me how to do better. To tell the truth, I was shook. I know that many people still have such beliefs, but I was clear from the beginning of our relationship that I needed an equal partnership on all fronts. It has always been an issue in terms of housework and childcare, but he always claimed circumstances or forgetfulness. Now looking back, I see a lot of situations in a new light. Him asking me to stop playing with my football team, because he didn't like the people? Him asking to stop attending occasional after-work gatherings because it makes him uncomfortable if I hang out with guys? Him getting mad if I have to work overtime? Him always conveniently needing to work, being too tired etc. when he would be in charge of taking care of our children? Him always forgetting to participate in traditionally women's chores like cooking or cleaning? Him constantly accusing me of cheating if I would come home late from work? Him often, and always exclusively wanting to spend time with me or going out with me if I had previously made other plans. We had our fair share of issues, but I always believed we could work through them and now I just don't know. I can see that maybe some of his friends were making fun of him for having a wife who does whatever she wants, but I don't think I can stay with someone who believes that women should stay at home, cook and clean, while it's okay for men to go out and enjoy their lives. How high is the chance that I'm just misinterpreting this or something and we can talk this out and still have the equal partnership that I need in my life? Or am I completely off track here and letting my whole family down? You seem pretty smart and you can probably determine a better cause than any of us, since you will have a lot more information. I suggest a professional for this one. I don't want to assume anything. I don't understand men that are not a provider but want a traditional homemaker. What happens with his money if yours pays all the bills? Good for you for keeping up your career so you can leave the dead weight hanging off you. Sounds like your entire marriage is built on a lie. He doesn't like your personality, that's the foundation of literally any relationship. Oh sweetie. You married a misogynist that doesn't make enough money to support his demands. Divorce. He's a misogynistic little worm and he deserves to be alone. My 33 female husband, 35 male, is mad I won't put out after he cleaned the kitchen. Just for some backstory, we have been together since 2009, we 2 kids, a 4-year-old and 1-year-old. I'm currently on maternity leave and taking care of both kids full-time while he works 4 days a week, 40 hours, just condensed days. Since my daughter is not yet in school, September, and we took her out of preschool for the summer months, she's been home with me every day since June. We have no family in the area, so we rarely have alone time. Maybe 9–10:30 when my daughter finally stops coming out of her room at night and before we call asleep, and that's in. My husband wakes up at 3:30 am for work and stays on that schedule on his 3 days off to game from 3:37 when the kids wake up, which is also his only time to do that. On his days off he for some reason only ever wants to have sex when the kids are awake. He wants to sneak off to another room when the 1-year-old is napping and the 4-year-old is occupied by TV. However, she would immediately follow us and I don't want her to be traumatized. We don't have a lock on our door. Whenever it's night, I cook dinner, put the kids down, clean the kitchen, clean up the toys, and then it's 9:30, so we relax for a bit and go to bed. 90% of the time he lays on the couch from when I cook dinner until we go to bed. He'll get up to eat dinner with us. Very occasionally he'll help me with half the kitchen or clean up the toys, and very rarely he'll do the whole thing. I've been telling him no to sex during the daytime. I don't want to traumatize our kid should she bust in. We have no daycare or family nearby. We have no intimacy either, and I have been complaining about this for years really. I have no time for intimacy because I'm doing so much alone all day and I'm exhausted emotionally and physically by the end of the day. I say if he helped out more at night I would have more time to relax and be able to get into a mood to want to do it. The past few weeks we've all had strep throat, and then the last 3 days, we all had a stomach bug. My 1-year-old and I got it the worst. I was questioning if I should go to the hospital as I couldn't keep water down for 12 hours. It ended up only being 24 hours of hell for me, and my son has been sick 3 days. I've been projectile vomited on by both kids several times. Co-slept in their vomit while trying to catch it in my sleep. Today again my 1-year-old puked on me, and after so many loads of laundry and being exhausted I just changed my shirt and didn't even clean myself. Which brings me to tonight. I ask my husband to unload the dishwasher while I do their bedtime, and can we please watch Star Trek after and relax. I'm still dizzy from being sick, no appetite, I need to chill. He agrees. I walk downstairs after putting my 4-year-old to bed 3 times, and he's actually loaded the dishwasher too and asks me if I'm DTF since he cleaned the kitchen. I'm like, what? I'm so confused since he knows I'm dizzy, barely eating, covered in puke still, and he also has a stuffed nose, which is a new illness. I say no and we get into an argument about how I always have an excuse no matter what I say the issue is. He'll fix it, aka do something once and expect a sexual favor as a thank you. He now wants to cancel our first ever family trip we booked for next week, since that apparently is another excuse so I won't have to have sex with him. He cannot see that he is being an asshole and that I owe him nothing, especially for contributing to our household. I'm sort of at a loss. I don't know how else to explain to him that I'm not an object, that I have more needs than just a clean kitchen, and that I'm literally covered in puke. Lol. I've tried so many ways and it's always me being the bad guy. TLDR. I won't put out after my husband helped out one night after 2 weeks of family illnesses that we still haven't recovered from. Here's a hot tip for all you husbands out there. Nothing dries up a vagina quite so quickly as a grown man who wants a sex sticker for his chore chart. Tell him sex is not something that's transactional. He should do the dishes because he eats off of them as well, not because he thinks he's done you a favor you must return with sex. If he does cancel the family vacation over this, book yourself a nice hotel for a couple days and leave him to figure things out. Is this how he always is? Are you happy with spending the rest of your life with someone who treats you like this? What grown man wakes up on his days off at 3:30 am to play video games for 3.5 hours before the kids get up? I mean, what is that? How do I, 30F, cope with seeing my husband, 38M, living happily with the woman he left me for? My husband and I were going through a rough patch 2 years ago. Even before then, he'd always sexually reject me. We took some time living apart in early 2022 but continued speaking every day. During the few occasions we saw each other, he could never get hard around me. We drifted further apart. He invited me to a concert and I couldn't go, August 2022, due to work. Suddenly, 3 months later he said he wanted a divorce. I later found out that he had met a woman who seemed to fit all of the physical descriptions of his types. He looks happy with her. He even told her I love you right away, when it took him nearly 2 years to tell me he loved me. We both signed divorce papers amicably and have been no contact since. Sometimes I think I'm fine but I wake up crying. I have cried by myself so many times. I look in the mirror and I hate what I see. It was never enough to satisfy him. All of his friends and family like her so much more. Sometimes a few weeks go by and I think I'm okay but then I start crying. I know he wasn't for me, but my heart can't stop loving him. I am so happy to see him smile even more than he ever did with me, but I hate I never brought joy to him. Please help. Edit. Adding these details for context. He got a green card during our marriage. I had gotten pregnant once during our marriage and he wanted the baby and I had an abortion because of his finances. We hardly had sex. He would raise his voice at me all the time. The new woman he met drove him to our old apartment where he picked up all his stuff. She impersonated him to email me about the divorce, and when he sent me a document by email about the divorce, I saw on the document properties her name and last name as the author. I refer him as husband because we're still legally married until the court finalizes it. His new girlfriend is from his same nationality and his friends and his family immediately connected with her better than they ever did with me. I could go on. Edit. More context around abortion. We were about to have sex. I said we needed a condom because I wasn't on the pill anymore due to health problems. He said, "No, you're my woman," and purposely finished inside me. I took Plan B the next day and still got pregnant. He went with me to the gynecologist and gave me flowers because he was happy. The day of my abortion he didn't want to go with me to the clinic and he cried before. I never wanted to get pregnant. This was 2 years before we separated. You block them and mourn. Then eventually you start dating other people. First piece of advice would be to stop calling him your husband. Therapy is really the only answer. Heartbreak sucks. You'll be okay in time, and you'll be better than okay in more time. But you have to quit dwelling. Block them both on all social media, work on yourself and start to cope with the loss, and eventually get back into the dating scene. During my worst breakup, smoking weed, drinking wine, and making art helped me through. They numbed the pain and fueled art to help me channel the grief into projects. Not saying you should become a bumbling drunkard, but sometimes a little vice can be helpful. Casual dating was also a nice distraction, but you need time before you even dip your toes into a dating pool again. Baby, I hate to say it, but he used you for a green card. Don't mourn a love that wasn't there. You just need to work on yourself and getting your confidence back up. Her looks will fade and he'll end up miserable. You deserve better.